Welcome to the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast with your host, Cody Jansen.
Am I on air? What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Cody Jansen, and welcome to episode 27 of the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast presented by CST Tires. ATV Motocross is back. It was deemed safe to race, and the ATV Nationals finally kicked off this past weekend in Georgia. Aonia Pass ended up being an awesome host. They were happy to have us. The weather was good, track was beautiful, and the turnout was solid as well. We'll talk all about the event tonight and be joined by rising star Bryce Ford, perpetual top 5 finisher Nick Gennusa, and young gun Max Lindquist, who just won his Pro-Am debut. Super excited. Should be a great show tonight as we cover everything that happened at Aonia Pass. But before we dig too deep, you know the drill. Let's thank all the incredible sponsors that make this show possible. We are proud to announce newest show sponsor, the Decker Training Facility. Decker Training Facility at County Line MX is now open. This premier motocross training compound is located in beautiful Fountain, Florida, about a 40-minute drive from the Panama City beach. Their rapidly growing facility consists of a pro-level national track, amateur and youth tracks, woods loop, and mountain bike trails. Everything you need to train comfortably all winter long is available on site, including private cabins, a full gym, RV hookups, bathhouses, garage, dump station, wash bays, and more. With accommodations for riders across the country and around the world, the Decker Training Facility will help you become the best rider you can be. Sign up for group training sessions or a private lesson with nationally ranked pros. Train tougher, smarter, and harder this off-season at one of Florida's most luxurious facilities. For more information, go to DeckerTrainingFacility.com or find them on Facebook or Instagram. Decker Training Facility, your elite training experience. Thanks to our title sponsor, CST Tires, CSTTires.com. The Pulse MXR tire is the best tire on the market no matter what the terrain. Join the CST takeover today or prepare to be beat by someone who did. CST Tires, where passion meets the ground. Thank you to Motorsports Powerhouse and show sponsor, Yamaha. We are proud to be partnered with the winningest manufacturer of the past decade in ATV Motocross and the #1 OEM supporter of ATV racing. The Digging Deep ATVMX podcast is Team Blue Crew. Thank you, Yamaha. Check them out at YamahaOutdoors.com. Thanks to another member of Racing Royalty and longtime sponsor of my personal racing efforts, Valvoline. For over 150 years, Valvoline has been dedicated to innovating and improving your driving and riding experience. The world's oldest oil company still leads the charge with unrivaled products and lubricants. Thanks to Team Valvoline for coming on board. Thank you to SSI Decals. SSI Decals is the decal choice of champions everywhere and a name synonymous with the best decals and graphics kits on the market. Their track record speaks for itself. Champions choose SSI Decals for unmatched look and quality. Thanks to those guys. Check them out today at SSIDecals.com. It's an absolute honor to be partnered with Wienen Motorsports. We all know him as one of the toughest competitors ATV Motocross has ever seen, and Chad Wienen has built a great business within the industry as well. The same products he handpicked to help him win 6 AMA ATV Pro National Championships are available to you through Wienen Motorsports. Simply put, he races what he sells. So head over to WienenMotorsports.com to see everything they have to offer and use promo code DIGDEEP to save at checkout. Thanks to Chad Wienen and Wienen Motorsports for further legitimizing everything we're doing here at Digging Deep. It's an absolute honor. Thank you to DID Racing Chain and their 520 ATV2 X-Ring chain. Team USA, Joel Hetrick, and myself trust the DID's unrivaled chain quality to championship victory this past season. Wherever you go, go with DID. We are proud to be partnered with Grip Gloves. Grip is an ATV rider owned and operated brand with the rider in mind and keeping costs affordable the goal. This Michigan-based family operation is here to push stereotypes and limitations while recognizing riders' desire to showcase their identity with eccentric colorways and crazy patterns. Grip is driven to produce a glove with cool colors and designs that won't break the bank. Get a grip on life. Check them out today at grippedgloves.com. That's GRIPT gloves.com and use discount code DIGGINGDEEP10 to save. Thank you, Namura Technologies. Namura, pistons with an attitude. Namura has led the charge in the ATV and side-by-side market since 2001 with their wide array of pistons, rings, gaskets, and industry-leading top-end repair kits. Visit your local dealer or online at namura.com. That's NAMURA.com. Also, a big thanks to Bronco ATV and UTV components. Bronco has been the industry leader in replacement hard parts and accessories for all makes and models for over 15 years. Whether it's electrical components, engine internals like rods and cylinders, suspension parts, or bearing kits, Bronco is your hard parts source when it comes to whatever you need for whatever you ride. BroncoATV.com. Thanks to Forworks Carbon for their continued support. Known for their hoods, seat covers, array of carbon parts, and so much more, Forworks is your one-stop shop to give your ATV a new and improved look with increased function for this new season. Head over to their social media pages or website today. Thank you to Forworks Carbon. Thanks as always to Evans Waterless Power Sports Coolant. Upgrade to Evans now to avoid overheating and boil over next time you hit the track. When conditions are at their worst, Evans is at its best. Use discount code DIGGINGDEEP20 to save at checkout, evanscoolant.com. Thanks to DP Brakes, the unquestioned leader in motorsports and power sports braking. DP is the brand responsible for allowing Joel Hetrick, myself, and so many others to outbrake the competition every time we hit the racetrack. It is not too late to join the team, so act fast. www.dp-brakes.com. Thanks to Blenders Eyewear, whose Life and Forward Motion brand is the perfect fit to partner with our podcast. You won't find better shades for a more attractive price anywhere else. Use discount code DIGGINGDEEP20 to save on the trendiest shades on the market. BlendersEyewear.com. Thanks to Oats Overnight. Life is hard, make breakfast easy. Simply combine with milk before bed and enjoy your to-go breakfast in the morning. Overnight oatmeal loaded with superfoods, perfect for athletes. Use discount code DIGGINGDEEP10 to save at checkout, oatsovernight.com. Thank you, Mountaineer Brand. If you know me, you know I love my beard. That's why I treat it right with Mountaineer Brand's all-natural washes, oils, balms, and more. Use discount code CODY'sFave in all caps, that's CODYSFAV, Cody's Fave, at mountaineerbrand.com. Thank you to Avocado Green Mattresses. The Avocado mattress offers zone back support with an internal support unit, meaning whether you're recovering from a hard day of riding or relaxing on a Sunday morning, you will be experiencing next level comfort. With a 100-night sleep trial, free shipping and return pickups, and a 25-year warranty, getting your Avocado Green mattress could not be any easier. Step up your sleep game by visiting avocadomattress.com. We are also proud to be partnered with Factory 43. Since 2007, the racer-owned company has been striving to offer a quality product that installs easy, looks good, and holds up over time, producing bumpers, grab bars, Nerf bars, and other accessories. For 2020, Factory 43 is the aluminum parts choice of the Phoenix Racing Honda team, providing riders like Joel Hetrick, Jeffrey Rastrelli, Chris Borich, and Grayson Eller with their motocross and cross-country versions of their Evo Nerf bars and MX-style front bumpers. Head over to factory43.com to see their full line of products. Thanks to Factory 43 for coming on board. We are proud to be partnered with Bikes, Trikes, and Quads, LLC. Celebrating their 10-year anniversary this month, the company was started by former racers selling three-wheeler parts out of a barn in upstate New York. Through hard work, accompanied by offering great service to their customers, BTQ LLC now has over 40,000 new and used parts in stock. But they haven't forgotten their roots, still offering used OEM parts for three-wheelers, dirt bikes, ATVs, and side-by-sides. Parts are in stock and ready to ship with delivery within 3 days, including free shipping on orders over $50. Use discount code ATVMX at www.btqllc.com for $10 off of orders of $50 or more. We're grateful to have Bikes, Trikes, and Quads LLC digging deep with us. Support our industry's small business during these difficult times. Thanks to BTQ LLC. And finally, you know what's coming. We are proud to be partnered with Roman Health. Americans are forced to wait 29 days on average to see a doctor in major U.S. cities. If you're dealing with a condition like erectile dysfunction, you want treatment ASAP. That's why our friends at Roman have spent years building a digital platform to connect you with a licensed doctor in your state from the comfort of your own home. Roman makes it convenient to get the treatment you need on your schedule. Just grab your phone or computer, complete a free online visit, and you'll hear back from a U.S. licensed physician within 24 hours. If the doctor decides that treatment is right for you, Roman's Pharmacy will ship your medication to you with free 2-day shipping. Plus, there are no commitments and you can cancel anytime with Roman. So if you're struggling with ED, go to getroman.com/digging for your free online visit and 2-day shipping. That's getroman.com/digging for your free online visit and free 2-day shipping. From our new partners to our original sponsors, thanks for supporting the #1 podcast in ATV racing and for making this dream a reality for both us and our listeners. We pride ourselves in partnering with only the best brands inside and outside of the industry, so better your riding experience and your lifestyle by supporting the sponsors who support us. If you enjoy the show, the best thing you can do is support our partners. And if you're interested in becoming a partner of the show, shoot me a message or email today for more details. We are running a discounted partnership rate to assist small businesses during these tough times. So message or email us today to keep your brand relevant. Once again, thanks to all of our sponsors. We are proud to welcome our first guest of the night, brought to you by DID Racing Chain and their 520 ATV2 X-Ring chain. It's rookie phenom, Bryce Ford. What's going on, buddy? Thanks for finally coming on our show.
Yeah, not much. Thank you for having me, Cody, and I really appreciate you having me on the show.
Yeah, I feel like, I feel like it's been a long time coming kind of thing. Like everybody kind of wants to hear from you. You're one of the big, talking points in the sport right now. So I feel like we have so much to talk about. I mean, like I said, you're a polarizing figure. You only just turned 18, which is crazy. You've already won a zillion amateur titles, dominated Pro-Am last season. You come out at Daytona and finish, one spot off the podium in your pro debut. And then there's this lengthy pause. So first off, like, how did you navigate those 2 months of downtime? Because the series, like, we didn't have anything definitive. Like, it was kind of like in doubt. So were you just grinding away during that time or kind of take me through that?
Yeah, for sure. So like when we found out that the coronavirus was a thing, we talked to our trainer, and our trainer wanted to do a little bit of weights, like a week or two of weights, so we could just, get our muscles a little bit bigger and stay in shape. And then I think like six weeks out, we started doing a lot of cardio, just riding the bike, run, and then we do like high interval stuff and just a lot of workouts 6 weeks out.
Okay.
And then the last week we just really went slow. We rode Monday and Tuesday, and then we worked out Friday before the race. And yeah, that's pretty much what we did. In the coronavirus, the crazy thing is about it is in Texas, like it was a thing obviously, but like with what we're doing, and we live out in the country, we
Okay.
really didn't get affected by it. The only thing that was concerning was maybe if we crashed, we might have to go to a hospital.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That was the kind of the biggest thing for me too. Even where I come from in Wisconsin, it wasn't like, I mean, there was things that were shut down and stuff, but like, it's not necessarily like, I don't know, it's not really going on here, I guess. So, yeah, that was the biggest thing that scared me, was just if I were to crash at some point and having to go to the hospital. But, yeah, like, and I guess where I was going with that was, you didn't know, like, yeah, as a trainer or as a rider or whatever, like you didn't, like, there wasn't necessarily an end in sight because, I mean, we didn't know like what was going to happen. So, they finally deem it safe to race, but that comes after Texas was postponed, then south of the border gets postponed. And, finally the news breaks that, we're going to be able to go to Ironman, or they're going to move the Ironman race to Aonia Pass. And the next thing you know, it was like seemed like the flip of a switch. We get the news and we're all of a sudden going to Georgia. So it was crazy. But did it like put you guys into, I mean, we were grateful for it, obviously, but did it put you into like scramble mode, or were you guys basically ready for when that news came?
So pretty much like when we hit that 2 weeks that we did the weights and all that, and then the 6 weeks we were doing, like, we would ride 3 times a week, and we were doing like pro days where we would have the 2 qualifiers and then the
Okay.
motos.
Yeah.
And so we really felt good. And that's why I was a little frustrated after the race, and I made a post about it yesterday that I really have felt the best I've ever felt. I trained the hardest, and it just, something didn't work out.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that, and I had even, talked with your team and stuff a little bit because just we knew, like, you could tell something was going on, like even with your body language or whatever. So we can get into that, but But yeah, what did you think about the track at Aonia Pass? Because I thought it was sick, and I mean, obviously, we're grateful that that a track, a place, you know, Georgia, that county, city, whatever, was willing to host us. It was great to go back racing, but talk about the track, because that was great, I thought, and it was obviously jiving with you early in the day there.
Yeah, so the track was honestly really weird when I walked it Friday because they tilled it so deep, and I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be miserable for Friday practice."
I thought it was going to be Muddy Creek, like
Yeah,
last
yeah,
year,
yeah,
Muddy Creek.
yeah, for sure. And I was all excited because I didn't have to practice Friday, obviously.
Yeah.
And Saturday the track was really good in the first qualifier. It was coming in nice, a lot of options, you know. And then in the second one, it started to get a little bit rougher, and that's I think where I started to struggle from the heat and all that, and the roughness of the track. First moto is pretty rough, and second moto it got really rough, where like one line was pretty dominant from getting rough.
Yeah.
But other than that, they did a really good job. That facility was awesome, and I feel like in the back of my head we're gonna go back there, so I'm excited to see what I can do the second time.
Sure. Yeah. I think they tried really hard to have like a bunch of option lines and stuff like that. So that was really cool. And yeah, I think I got some little bit of insider information that I think the series would like to go back there too. So I hope you're right, because that was a really cool place. It's a long way from home. I'd rather it be Indiana, but yeah, it was really cool. So yeah, you started to talk about your day a little bit there. We'll talk about the action, because you know, you come out in that first qualifier there, P2. You're going blistering fast in that first qualifier. You talked about the track getting rough a little bit and then struggling, but I didn't know if that was like, is that because of the heat, or like, are there certain conditions or track types that you feel like are a strength right now, if that makes sense?
Yeah, and that's sort of one of the things that we're trying to figure out right now is
Okay.
everyone knows that I train with. They know I'm amazing in the softer stuff and the
Yep.
smoother tracks. I'm fast on the ground and fast on a flat track, but that's where we're trying to figure out what we can do to change our track. We had Randy Poulter come and redo it, and I think we're gonna add mulch now, because like we look at some of the tracks like uh, Iron Man sort of like it's like mulchy, you know how it gets real rutted, and
Yeah, for
Aonia
sure.
Pass had a bunch of mulch.
Yep.
So I think we just need to figure some things out, you know, because it's just I don't know. I struggled. I didn't think I was gonna struggle. Like I said, I felt the best I've ever felt waking up that day. I
Yep.
felt ready to go. Felt good in the first one. Then it started heating up, and I fell on my face and just never really recovered. In the motos, it's sort of my thing. I'm really fast at the start, and then I catch a second wind, and I'm decent at the end.
Okay.
But I was just riding, and like at the 8 minute mark, I was like, Jesus, and I just never really recovered from that, and I just started going back from there.
Okay. Yeah. Because that was one of the things I wanted to ask too, because I think that it's clear that, and you kind of touched on it, but your biggest strength is like your sprint speed is crazy fast. And like, you could see it in Pro-Am last year, right? Like at the beginning of the race, you would go crazy fast, and then you could kind of throw it on cruise, you know, control, and just motor that thing home. Well, I mean, like in the pro class, like it doesn't really work that way. So the class is so fast right now. It's like, I mean, I get what you're saying. Like, you're trying to figure out how you can kind of just keep that speed. But like you said, it was so hot that, I mean, you can't even blame you for it. Like, if that was to zap you, because I think everybody was dealing with that in one way or another, you know?
No, for sure. Like the thing that just baffles me is like last year on my pro am bike, we sort of ran one setup, one like the same shocks all year.
Okay.
Mark Baldwin came down here a couple weeks ago before Aonia, and we found out I got probably a second and a half faster on our track when it got rougher. We messed with shock lengths and all that stuff. And so
Okay.
we had a couple different options going into this race. And honestly, like we would change shock lengths, and I would gain a second here when it was smooth, and then I would gain a second when it got rougher when we made longer shocks. And so it's just like crazy because I've never really had that where we can get better. I've always had just average stuff.
And you
And
just
going
ran
into
it.
this race,
Yeah.
going into this race, I felt like we had a hand up, because like
Okay.
we got something, we got different stuff we can do. And like I said earlier, it just got rougher and rougher in the day, and we just got worse. So it's just crazy to me.
Sure. Well, it's kind of a learning curve, right? So and I think like, and I'm not that this is what's happening with you, but like they talk about in like motorcycle racing where, guys can get lost in the setup. And I mean, it's a lot like mentally, it's a lot to think about like, hey, are we going the right way? Are we going the wrong way? Should we change this? Should we change that? Like that can be mentally taxing. So I mean, I get what you're saying, but I mean, the day wasn't like we know, like I know your goals are lofty.
Yeah, the day definitely wasn't horrible,
Yep.
but for as hard as I was training, I felt, and as much as we figured out in this year, it just wasn't my day. It's not something, and no offense to anyone, I'm
Yep.
not looking for an eighth overall. I feel like I'm a very talented rider, and if I put in the work, I could be top 3. I just got to figure some things out.
Of course. And I think that some of those things, Bryce, like you almost can't teach them. It's like you just got to go through some of these experiences and you're going to be better off coming out of this. You're going to be better off. So like you said, the day wasn't totally bad. Like still, you qualify P2 in the first one, you qualify 5th overall. Right. So, I mean, that's in itself. I don't know how much stock you put in qualifying, but
Yeah.
it's still like it still shows that your speed is there. It's where it needs to be, all these things. So that's a feather in your cap. And in that first moto too, I don't know what happened at the beginning of the moto there, but you went from the back and ran up to 6th place, which like that's pretty impressive too. So, I mean, like you said, it wasn't all bad.
Yeah, for sure. I think I made a mistake there. We were training with Thomas for a while, and then he ended up going to Florida. But um, with him, we did starts, like 5 starts every single day, and
Okay.
and we really started to get away from that. I was like, oh, I'm gonna save the clutches in the practice bike because we run 25-minute motos, 30-minute motos.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yep.
sort of hard on them. So I really went away from that going into that race, and I think I just lost a little bit of my technique. And the first moto, I had a horrible start. I spun. I like boiled the tires on the gate, and I think me and Jeffrey got into it in the first one.
Okay.
And then in the second one, I just spun the tires again, and once you lose a half a second, you're way back there. And then luckily, I saw Thomas on the first one cut in on the start, and I just followed him, and I made like 6 passes before the downhill, so which
Okay.
helped.
Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, that's a terrible feeling when you're sitting and spinning and it doesn't feel like a
Yeah,
quarter of a
for sure.
second. It feels like 5 seconds when everybody's
Yeah.
going and you're spinning. So yeah, I mean, you pull up, you gut out cause like I said, you could tell by your body language that something was going on, but you got out an 8th overall. And, I feel like, especially now after this conversation, like you come off mature beyond your years almost because like you're not just like, "Oh, what the heck, I got 8th." Like, it's more we're working to get better. Like that's a great mindset to have. And with Muddy Creek next, and there's only one weekend in between. I'm sure you can't wait to get out there and kind of I don't know how to say it, like get this bad taste out of your mouth, I guess.
No, and that's a good point that you said, like that we're learning from it. Like, honestly, going into this race, I got 4th at Daytona. There was a lot of talk. We're going to an outdoor track and all that stuff. And I ended up doing bad, which is fine with me because you learn, like you said. And going into this race, Muddy Creek, it's great. I have no pressure. No one's talking about me. So the one thing I can go out there and do is perform, and then just perform and let the results speak for themselves, and not have to talk, don't say anything about it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Of course. Yeah. For 100%. And it's different. Like it's a different dynamic in our kind of sport. I've often thought about this because, I mean, yes, like Pro-Am, maybe you can compare to the 250 class if you're looking at dirt bikes, but that's
Yeah.
really not the same. And
Yeah.
so when you go pro, like you're racing against it would be like going pro on a dirt bike and then having to race Ken Roxon, Eli Tomac, Cooper Webb, like all the baddest guys right off the bat. So, I mean, that is really tough as a young pro. And like, think about it. You had eighth, you're not happy with it, but you were still the top rookie. Like, it's like, you're still ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
So it's still like, an exciting time to be Bryce Ford.
No, for sure. It's great. Like you just said, something about the dirt bike, how they have a 250 stepping stone. Like I sort of look at myself as like a Jet Lawrence.
Yes.
Like I have a lot to learn. He didn't get a stepping stone to 250, really, maybe 125 or whatever he ran. But
Yep.
it's like me and quads, you don't get any stepping stone. Like Pro-Am, yes, it's a very competitive class. But I can promise you, when you line up in a qualifier in a moto in a pro race, it's a different ball game.
So different. Yeah.
Like for instance, I raced 50s at nationals, and that was like a while back. And Chad Wienen was a pro, and
Yep.
I think Joel Hetrick was just about to turn pro or turn pro that year. And it's
Yeah.
like it's hard for me because I looked up to these guys, and in a time span of 7 years or 5 years, I'm already racing them.
I know. Yeah.
So
I
it's
mean,
it's just it's hard to get your head right, but you just got to do it, you know. And
it
like before
is.
Daytona, I deleted Instagram for a while just
Okay.
so I can get my head right, get those people's names out of my head, and try to push to myself that I'm the best, you know. And not
Yeah.
trying to be cocky, just to like I know I've always looked up to them. I know they're great riders, but it's just like I got to get my head right. And I might not beat them. I might not be better than them, but I just want to tell myself that like I'm the best. I'm going to do the best, you know,
Yep.
just things like that.
Yeah, you have to brainwash yourself as an athlete or as a competitor, because otherwise you're exactly right. You hit the nail on your head. So this is like a really interesting conversation to me because yeah, like in our sport, it's niche, right? So like everybody at the racetrack is either looking up to or an infatuated with or whatever with Chad Wienen, with Joel Hetrick, with Jeffrey Rastrelli, Thomas Brown, all these guys. It was the same thing for me. Like I'm 10 years older than you,
Yeah.
but when I was in the youth classes, uh, Chad Wienen was a pro. Joel, Thomas Brown was in Pro-Am, and like we looked up to those guys. So then when I go pro in 2014 or whatever, like I line up my very first moto, I'm lined up between like John Natale and Josh Creamer, like two of my favorite guys ever. And you're exactly right. Like I think for a guy like me, it was like that mental part of it. Like I could never shut that off because it's like, oh my God, these guys are like legends. How am I going to beat them, or how am I going to compete with them? And yeah, like that's a really intriguing conversation to me because, like I said, every single person at the racetrack looks up to those guys. And if you make it to the level that you're at, okay, now you have to compete against them. And you've been looking up to Chad Wienen as he's won all these championships and whatever. And now you got to line up against the guy. It's like you can't let yourself think it's impossible, but it's crazy. So no, like deleting Instagram and that stuff is, I mean, it's totally justified. It's
And
like
and
whatever you
like
have to
another
do.
thing to touch on that, like it's really nice having the people I have, like Mark Baldwin. Like when I know I get on my bike, I know it's a very good bike in pro class, arguably one of the best. And
Yep.
just the people I train with, I might be switching trainers. I don't know if I should name it yet because it'll start probably a big thing. But I'm gonna name it anyways. I think I might be training with Dom now because
Okay.
in my head I feel like Dom is just he's just on another level. He pushes you, and it's just like a guy to have in your corner. Not many people talk good about him, but it's someone that I believe in. I've always been like cool with Dom, and I believe in him. And like this week, I've done some of his workouts, and it's
Okay.
like, wow, was I really working hard enough the other weeks? You know what I'm saying?
Sure. 100%, because you're preaching to the choir. I've always been cool with Dom. Dom's been my trainer for years now, and still is to this day. And yeah, like with him, the track record is proven, right? Like he did it with Joel in the past. And yeah, like some people maybe don't have the best things to say about him, but he's always treated me like gold. So that's all I can go off of. And again, the track record speaks for itself. So he was once training Joel Hetrick to kind of, in some way, shape, or form, help Joel Hetrick be the competitor that he is today. So that's I think that's a
Yeah.
huge move for you.
Yeah, for sure. Like Dom came down here a couple years ago when we had the big team thing with Jacob Stevens and Ronnie and all them.
Yep.
And he was really cool. He's just explaining me stuff when I was little, and then we ended up doing our own thing. He went and trained some other riders.
Okay.
And honestly, I would have kids come over, any of my friends or anything, and they would always just tell me positive stuff. Dom says this about you, and it's like, you go back in in a couple of years now where I'm at now, I'm like, man, I really want that guy to train me, just because, like you said, like Joel Hetrick, I feel like he really helped Joel. And
Yep.
I don't know if everyone feels like that. I feel like he made Joel like a championship mindset. And if I can get that help by Dom, then I'm going to do it. Because
100%.
right now in my life, I'm going to try to do anything I can to win. I want to try to win a pro championship pretty fast.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. And again, just to know, like for me, when I got on the program, I didn't question, am I doing too little? Am I doing too much? Am I not doing the right stuff? Whatever, because the track record was proven. So
Exactly.
again, I think it's a great move for you. And I can tell you firsthand that Dom has told me tons of great things about you. So I'm sure he's, just as you're saying you're stoked to work with him, I know for a fact that he's just as stoked to work with you. So I think, and I hope that it's a great marriage for you guys, because again, I think that this is something that Dom has already done. And I think that you are on that same trajectory as being a young pro, just like Joel was. And he, he kind of didn't take very long for him to kind of turn that raw speed into being a contender. So again, awesome move, and very cool for you to break that here. So that's it's really exciting. So how, this is a question I wanted to ask you. So how has the pro class compared to what you expected it would be like? And I mean, I know that you've spent tons of time riding with your brother, who is a pro, of course, finished on the podium last year. And you've spent time riding with Thomas and all kinds of pros, but I feel like it's different. Like you kind of mentioned before, when you get out there and it's a whole gate full of guys at that level. So talk about what it's been like compared to what you expected it to be like.
Yeah, for sure. So last year when Thomas trained us, he would come out here and we would ride motos together, and we would either start behind or in front of each other.
Okay.
And I really used to struggle mentally with, like, once Thomas got close, I would really start messing up, just because, like I said earlier, I've always looked up to these guys.
Yep.
And this year when we started training, honestly, like I said, I was really started getting my mind right. Like I know I can be out there with these guys. I know I'm as good as them. Like I'm telling myself that, not that that's
no, I know
true.
what you mean. Yep. Of course.
But,
Yep.
And so I got out there this year, and I was just riding with confidence. I believed in the stuff that I said. And honestly, if you feel like you should be out there, I don't think it's a lot faster, yes, but I don't think it's as big of a deal as what people say.
Right. Yeah. Well, and you proved, I mean, no disrespect to anybody, but you you were in a class of your own almost last year in Pro-Am. So, I mean, this is clearly where you belong. So I totally get where you're coming from, but it was a question that I was curious to ask, because you never know what it feels like to people when they get to the pro class like that. So,
but one thing I do feel like is people know that the younger classes don't hit as much anymore.
okay.
So, like, when I did move up there, I think that people sort of want to rub with you and stuff like that. And it's just like, if you're prepared for it, it's not that big of a deal. But
Right.
like if
No.
you're going up a lip of a jump, not paying attention,
Yep.
and someone's right next to you, it's gonna scare you. So then you'll let them go and you won't jump next to them and just stuff like that. If
Yep.
you're ready for it and prepared mentally, you're fine.
And the one thing that is actually really cool about the pro class is, that, I mean, for the most part, you can trust the other rider, right? So you
Yeah,
can be right up next to or right behind somebody and know, like, hey, they're not going to do anything stupid. I can trust this guy. These guys are the best in the world.
yeah, that's something that I actually read from Adam Cincerillo. Like at the start of the season, he said he used to look back in the 250 classes a lot and stuff like that. And
Okay.
now like he doesn't look back as much because he can trust the guys. Like just like you said, I would honestly jump next to any of these pros side by side
Yeah.
because nothing's happened yet that's bad.
Yep.
And it's like I trust them all, so I'll jump right next to them. And like you said, I know these guys are the best for a reason.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, you're like the exact train of thought that I always had too. So, last question before we wrap this thing up, Bryce. We saw pictures floating around a little bit of that KTM hybrid. So, do we are you going to jump into that pro mod class at some point on that thing? I know that you were signed up for it, but I think you probably didn't have much time on that bike or whatever, if I was informed right. So is that something that you want to do, is hop on that thing in pro mod?
Honestly, I really didn't want to hop on it. I told my dad at the start of the season, let's build one because I sort of want to just go and compete against those guys that are up and coming.
Okay.
And at Daytona, I got a fourth, and I was like, Dad, I really don't want to race this thing if I go and I'm in the top spot. Like I'm gonna put all my eggs in one basket in pro class, pretty much.
Yeah, of course.
But at Georgia, I would have raced it, but I was so exhausted after the race for some reason, and my hands were really beat up.
Okay.
So I decided not to race it. But if I get some time on it, I could show up to some races. I don't think I'll race the full season, but I could show up to a couple of tracks.
Sure. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured, honestly. Like, I figured, like, yeah, if you're doing well, it's almost like you want to put your sole focus on one thing. And then, yeah, with the way that the weather was and it was hot and all these stuff, like I figured kind of that was what happened. So but yeah, I mean, people are drooling over that bike. So the bike is cool.
Yeah, for sure. I just actually went down there today and looked at that bike, and I would say honestly that's probably one of the cleanest bikes I've ever had. So it's gonna be hard to ride it for sure.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. The conversation here has been great. I can't thank you enough for coming on, and can't wait to sit back and kind of see all this success that's kind of ahead for you. You've made such a fan out of me, and like even just from this conversation, I just feel like I even know you a little better, and know you're thinking a little better, and it just makes me that much more of a fan. So like you're obviously a main key to the future of this sport, and the podiums and stuff that you have in mind I think are right around the corner. So I'm definitely proud of you, and I would love to have you back on. Anytime you want to come on, we're down for it, because I think you're just a great personality for the podcast. And again, I just can't thank you enough for coming on.
Well, I really appreciate all that positive stuff, and I'd just like to thank you so much for everything you've done for our sport and letting me on here, because it really means a lot. I know I haven't had the best year yet, but I think we can turn it around, and hopefully one day we can make a podcast fully about me and get some good talk on there.
Hey, I'm all for it. Especially now, like you never know how somebody's going to be, like on the, some people don't like talking as much and whatever. So like I'd be more than comfortable to do a full length podcast anytime. So I just can't thank you enough for coming on, and you're welcome back here whenever you want to come on.
All right, I appreciate that.
Awesome stuff there by Bryce Ford. We got both Nick Gennusa and Max Lindquist coming up, but first, let's cover some of the notable things that happened down in Georgia. Like I said, the track was incredible. The series hadn't been there since 2014, and I was blown away with how great the track was. Much better than I remembered, and an AMA insider told me that they'd love to see the series go back there in future seasons. Great stuff, and glad they were willing to host us. So at the front of the pro class, things were kind of status quo, honestly, but we're going to do a full breakdown here. We're going to just run down the list of how the finishes went in the pro class. Joel Hetrick, as you probably know by now, went 1-1. He was forced to make some passes, specifically in Moto 1, but he was able to get by Chad there in the first Moto and was able to notch a perfect 1-1 score on the day. So he's now got the points lead. He's got the red background, and the number one is looking like he's going to be tough to beat, which was not a surprise. And I do believe that that was a Joel Hetrick style racetrack with the hard surface, fast. It just seemed like a Joel Hetrick track. Muddy Creek is going to be another track that Joel probably is going to shine on. He seems to always do well there. He seems to always do well on those hard-packed, fast tracks in general. So good finish at Aonia Pass for him. Obviously, the 1-1 couldn't have been better, and I'm sure he's going to want to keep the ball rolling. For Chad Wienen, he comes home 2-2, gives up the points lead, but it was still a hard-fought, good finish for Chad on the day, and obviously he's right there in the points chase. It's going to be maybe a two-man fight until the finish with this thing. I don't know why we would expect anything different. The only thing that could change is maybe another rider can get up there and challenge the top two. Thomas Brown comes home with 3-3. You're seeing all these guys kind of just notch their same finishes in Moto to Moto. Thomas, the most notable thing about him, I mean, he was clearly the third best guy on the day. He bombed that triple jump every single lap pretty much, and I think that he was the only guy doing that consistently. So that seemed to stand out to me, and he was just solid. He was just really solid on the day, brought home a third place finish. It was weird to not have those three guys on the podium because they were social distancing and whatnot, but yeah, Thomas Brown finished out the podium, and a 3-3 performance for him. Brandon Hogue, another consistent score for these guys, 4-4 on the day. He was kind of in no man's land almost, just kind of doing his own thing in fourth there, but I mean, I know that his goal is for podiums. He said that he wants more. He wants to get up and contend with those guys. But especially after the long layoff of 4-4, that's obviously a great finish that he can build on going forward. Nick Gennusa, you're going to hear from him in a little bit, hear all about his day and some of the stuff that he's dealing with. 5-5 on the day. Always consistent Nick Gennusa, the very typical Nick Gennusa type of day. So I'm not going to go too deep into that one because you're going to hear all about Nick Gennusa and what he's got going on with his program. And the only thing that's holding him back right now is the starts. If he could get a start, he could maybe contend with those guys ahead of him. So you're definitely going to hear about that going forward in the interview coming up next. Wesley Wolf, we talked about in our season preview podcast. His average finish is 6th, was 6th last year, and he's going to come home with a 6 overall at Aonia Pass, 8-7 on the day for 6th. Very Wesley Wolf-like performance, very respectable. I mean, even these guys behind him are very, very good riders. So Wesley Wolf doing Wesley Wolf things, coming home with 6, good finish for him. Alan Myers coming off his podium at Daytona. I'm sure he wanted to either get another podium or at least be up there with those guys. He's going to come home with 7th on the day, 7-8, and he's going to come home in 7th. Bryce Ford, who you just heard from, great interview. He talked about some of his struggles. We talked about him getting 8th overall. He was 2nd fastest in qualifying, though, running 4th best lap times in the motos. So he's going to come home with 8th, but he's definitely shooting for more, and I would be surprised if you don't see, substantially better finishes from him going forward. This could be an anomaly. I think 8th place may just be where the bottom is for him. So it's all up from here probably. In 9th place, it was Wes Lewis. He went 10-10 for 9th. Super solid finish from Wes. He had an 8th at Daytona, 9th at Aonia Pass. He's killing it. Wes has become such a grinder, and good finish for him. Logan Stanfield comes home in 10th, 9-11 for 10th. That's his second top 10. He was 10th at Daytona. So to start your pro career with 2 top 10s in a very stacked class, big credit to Logan Stanfield for another top 10. And if I remember correctly, I know I'm remembering this correctly, I said that he would be the next rookie in line. So if Bryce Ford were to be the rookie of the year, which was kind of the preseason hype and expectation, Logan Stanfield, I said, was going to be the next guy in line, and he clearly seems to have been that so far through 2 races. So good job to him, and with those 2 top 10s, and he's killing it, top 10 in points. In 11th, man, this is a heartbreaker. Jeffrey Rastrelli. Jeffrey looked like he was going to come home 3rd in the first moto, and I know that his whole program is riding on top 3s, and he knows that that's where he belongs. His speed, he says, is there where he should always be a podium guy. And on the first moto, it looked like it. It looked like he was going to finish that thing home in 3rd, and ended up getting squirrely into the catch fence, and man, it was a bad situation for Jeffrey there. Thankfully, he was okay, but that turned a 3rd place in Moto 1 into a 16th place in Moto 1. And he salvaged a 6th in Moto 2, but that 16-6 gave him 11th overall, and that's not where Jeffrey wants to be. So a DNF at the first race and 11th at the second round at Aonia Pass. It's all got to be positive from here on out for Jeffrey if he wants to get back in this points chase in the top 3. And again, that's his whole being is riding on this right now. So look for Jeffrey to hopefully put that thing up front at Muddy Creek and kind of put that thing where he believes he belongs. In 12th, Troy Hill, another rookie, 11-12. I thought that when I looked at these results, I thought that was a really solid performance for Troy. To be 12th, he finishes 11-12. That's a really solid, sleepily but solid, really effort for him. I feel like that was really good, especially when you look at the guys behind him. 13th was Hayden Mickelson, 14-13 for 13th. I think he said he was dealing with some things, so we'll see if he can get that turned around. Don't know exactly what he was dealing with there, but these guys are all in a dogfight these guys are still racing hard at this part of the pack here, because 14th was another rookie, Brogan Geyer, 12-15 for 14th. But Brogan, I've heard really good things that he's flying at the test track. So expect big things from Brogan, because I heard from people closely related to his camp that really expected him to be kind of in that top 10 mix. So I guess what I'm saying with that is people say that he's got it in him. So he's just got to make it happen. So 14th for Brogan Geyer on the weekend. He'll look to build on that. Cody Ford, he comes home in 15th, 15-14 for 15th. I know he's dealing with some stuff. We knew he broke his hip or fractured his hip just prior to Daytona and gutted that out. And I know he's dealing with some other issues as well. So I don't know if he's had a couple get-offs since then or what the deal is. I know he's been grinding, but I do know that he's dealing with some more stuff than just that hip. So that's unfortunate. I hope that he can get things back on the rails, because he was a guy that I picked to be my most improved pro this season. And I still think he's got it in him, but he needs to get healthy to be able to make that happen. Noah Mickelson coming home in 16th, 13-16 for 16th. It doesn't even look right to see him in 16th, because I think he's got so much natural talent. He could have been dealing with something. I'm not aware at this point. No matter what, he'll look to improve on 16th place at Aonia Pass going forward. And in 17th, finishing out the class is Ty Hudson, went 17-17. I think he might have been dealing with something. I don't know if it was bike related, but I do remember seeing him in the pit area. So he's another guy that's gonna look to get things back on track. That's seems to always be a theme when you're looking at the back half of the class, right? But the class is stacked, so earning any of those spots is a daunting task. It really is. So great pro class racing. I know at the front it looked like guys were kind of just finishing, same in both motos or whatever, but really good racing. I thought great racetrack, offered some really good racing. Thought it went really well. Other notable performances, Zach Decker was on rails, dominating the new Pro Mod class. He also battled Max Lindquist in Pro-Am, so you'll hear that coming up. A tip of the cap as well to Cesar Jimenez, who finished out the Pro-Am podium. Good for him. And I want to give a shout out to Michael Allred, who I battled with for the title last year. He finished fourth in his Pro-Am debut, so awesome job there. The pro stock class is a favorite of mine. I think it's the coolest concept. Chad Wienen and Thomas Brown went 1-2 like most of last year, but a red machine ridden by Joel Hetrick won the first moto. If you know, you know. I was shocked and then bummed that he broke his machine and didn't line up for Moto 2. We'll see if he's going to be there all year in that class, but sign me up for more battles between the top riders. I'm all for that. Alan Myers finished third overall in the pro stock class. Tons of killer action in the amateur classes, a bunch of new faces in new classes. It's going to make for one hell of a summer. It's just great to have ATV Motocross back. I guarantee we're all more grateful to have it back now than we would have been before. Okay, now let's get into our next interview. Enjoy. And now this guest is one of the most consistent guys in the sport, brought to you by the all-new Decker Training Facility. It's Nick Gennusa. What's up, mate? Thanks for giving us a little bit of your time.
Thanks, bro. I know that we've been trying to catch up for a little while, and quarantine's kind of held everyone off the game of a lot of things recently, and it was good to get back in the swing of things next weekend, and it looks like we're back in the racing talks here.
Yeah, for sure. Like I kind of just got done telling you before we hit record on this thing, we've had all the heavy hitters, quote unquote, on recent episodes here. So it only felt right to get you on. And you had a pretty solid day in Georgia down there, which doesn't come as a surprise for you because, like I said, you're always consistent. But yeah, like you had your work cut out for you. To get up to that fifth in the first moto there. You came from way back.
Yeah. I mean, not to go back to it, but I know you were just saying being one of the heavy hitters, but you kind of get, in quote, lost in the sauce when you start the season with a DNF. Everybody forgets about you and everyone kind of, their picks of who's going to do well in the first race kind of doesn't go as planned. And then it's crazy. You have one bad race and everyone forgets about you and everything you've done in the last 5 years, you're on no one's radar. But, it's just how racing goes. And I knew the least I could do was stay sharp in my time off and make a statement. Obviously my whole shots did not make a statement at Georgia by any means, but I worked with what I had. I took off in 13th the first moto and 10th in the second moto. And, again, I know I didn't make it easy on myself. None of that's intentional. I got some people within my program right now that are closely working with me to figure out, what the hell's going on and why am I not getting over the gate? My power, there's nothing wrong with the engine. Like my gearing, my reaction is spot on more than people think it is. Okay. Everyone keeps thinking it's a delayed reaction, and that's actually the least of it. I'm one of the first to react, but my over the gate it's my fault. I'm not even blaming the bike. I know that, and this has been a talk for years, and I know people have kind of bashed me for years about it, and it's no hate towards the people. They're not wrong. I'm not great at starts, and right now I kind of struggle going over the gate, and it's me. It's not the bike, because I've had really good starts randomly when I least expect it, and then sometimes when I'm focusing a little bit less, I can nail a start, but easier said than done, on the gate. They're just, think a little bit less. It's not really like that. It's kind of I need to just nail down a very consistent method. And, I do believe and know for a fact, I'm a number 3-4 guy, but I can't be a 3-4 guy or battle with that number 3-4 if I'm starting outside the top 13.
And they're starting at the front.
I literally started in 13th or 14th the first moto. And once you settle in that first lap, man, I mean, you have 8 or 9 guys that pass me, and that's one guy every single lap that I'm coming through, literally.
Yeah.
Average, I can pass 2 people in one lap. I can go 2 laps and not pass anyone, but it averages like a person in a lap every lap. in a different spot. So it's frustrating. I know it makes a show for people and they like to see it, but it's nothing I haven't done. I wrestled with it the past few years, and I felt like I've been a really fast guy, but always stuck behind everybody, and I've just had to learn to be real creative with my passes, and sometimes they're not clean. Sometimes I could do it without touching anyone, but I'm not here to make friends, and I make that clear with people, so it's just my style.
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of touching on what you started that your answer with there. I don't think it's a good idea for anybody to count you out because I think your track record is proven. I mean, to be like you had to have been know that you've been fourth or fifth in every championship. You've probably been fourth or fifth in like 80% of the races. So, it's pretty crazy. So I don't think that anybody should count you out, but yeah, I mean, you had that DNF at Daytona and then there's like this break, and I'm sure that had to eat away at you because you're just wanting to put that behind you. You think you're going to get a chance to like 2 weeks later in Texas, and no, you got to hold on to this feeling for like 9 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it's this year's different. I mean, I'll even go back to me going to Argentina and doing EDV, which was like the absolute coolest experience of my life to do.
And you were there for a little while, right?
I was supposed to be there for 3 weeks, but the race got pushed off a week for whatever reason. So I was there for right over a month.
Okay.
And I went there by myself in a different country, never been there before. And I trained with Mech Team. They were absolutely phenomenal. Like, they are unbelievable, those guys. I've never worked with a group that was so on it like they were. I wish I could bring them back to the United States, and you never know how that works one day. But
okay.
So I did that race. It was a 1 hour race in the desert, 400 people. I felt phenomenal. Like, the first week I was there, it was horrible. And then I got really dialed in, got fourth in the race, was feeling amazing. Came to Daytona, I had a week to practice on ATV Motocross. Very confident though in how I felt physically. I have a new trainer this year that I've been working with since December, and I'm just like so in love with everything I've been doing right now. And it's just, I feel like the absolute best I've ever felt physically in my life. And like, I'm able to hit it every day, like my marks and everything, like be consistent. I think that's kind of like what I used to lack, was like some days I felt really good and other days I just don't. And I know it showed in a couple of races, whether it was last year or years before, like I was really on or really off. And I was really on for Daytona. I got tangled in that whole shot. I was in mid-pack on the start in the main event, got tangled up, was way out of the top 12, but you know me, I would have came back to fifth or sixth, being it was Daytona.
Right.
And I felt good. I really felt so good there, physically, and I had my chain cam off for a number of reasons, and I was bummed out, back to, like you said, it was 2 months of it kind of eating me alive, where I was seeing all these other guys get praised, like these new people, and I'm not bashing them by any means, but I'm like looking at the big picture, like 3 of the last top 5 guys from 2019 had a problem at Daytona, and it made 3 other people move forward. Me, Rastrelli, both broke down, and Thomas Brown crashed on the last lap. So it's like we all got counted out, and then 3 new people, again, not bashing them, but they were praised for 2 months, and it's like we all got forgotten. So the least I could do was just make a statement that I'm so confident right now in my fitness, and it clearly showed over the weekend. Like, I literally, any given day I wake up, and I'm not saying it's gonna be like this every race, but the way I've been feeling is just phenomenal. And I feel like I can wake up on race day and I know exactly what I need to be eating or staying away from certain times of the day. And I literally feel like $1 million, but I need to feel like $1 million the first 5 seconds of the race so I can nail a start and show what I have. Like, it's not easy. I feel like it almost burns more energy coming from the back because I got to work that much harder. But man, I was picking them off one by one, and I could have did it honestly till I ran out of gas. I'm not saying it's easy, but I felt a lot better than the guys in front of me. I could tell.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And I was going to touch on this a little bit later, but you could tell even by your lap times how good you felt, because your lap times were like literally the same, and you're coming through traffic, it's hot, it's whatever. And your lap times were like the same, literally the entire moto. So that's a credit to you for sure. I know your fitness has kind of always been a strength of yours, but yeah, to have you feeling as good as you are now, that's got to make you feel really good. I want to touch on so you come from way back in the first moto, and get up to fifth. You get up to fifth in both motos. You didn't have to come from so far back in the second moto. Were you making passes just everywhere? Did you have some spots picked out? Like, take me through that a little bit, because nobody made as many passes that you probably at the whole race.
No, probably not in the whole weekend.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So
I don't know, man. Like, it's kind of just one of those situations where, like, I've just been put in this situation so many times. Like, it could be 50 or 80 races that I've done in my life, which is more than people think, or more. It could be over 100, where I've started in the back and I've been one of the fastest guys in the race. And I had to just work with what I had in front of me. And a lot of people said what you just said about the lap times, with how they were consistent. I looked at the lap times. They were consistent. They weren't in the motos. They weren't fast. And I'm going to blame, having traffic in front of me the whole time. And it is a valid point, because even though I was putting down consistent laps, I had somebody in front of me every single lap of the motos. And then once I got to fifth, both motos, I kind of just paced it through the last lap or two. Like, I could have went hard the last lap or two, but fourth was too far ahead. There was kind of I hate to accept it, but you got to kind of know as a racer when to accept it and when to risk it. And I know if they're in striking distance to go for it or not. There was a lap and a half left, and I'm just like, all right,
yeah,
this is my race. And I felt like with a better start, I could have went even faster. And if I took off in the top 6, I know I can latch on and then just stay with 3, 4. Like, I really feel like I can. I just have not been able to show that for a while. And I mean, making passes, I don't know. Once I'm put in the back, all I know is get around as many people as I can, and I get real creative. And my passes have gotten a lot more risky, but it's not for nothing. Like, this is a job for me at the end of the day. And every one more year I stay in this sport, I realize that this is serious. Like, it's either kick myself in the butt with it, for weeks after I should have made that pass the way I did when the door was open, but I got scared for a second, or just nail it on the spot and take the chance. And, it's risk versus reward. And, I'm not on the track to be friendly with everyone. I mean, everybody I like to be friendly with off the track. I don't like to hold grudges on people. I know I've had that in pro class and had my, name shuffled around with a few people, but this is racing, and once I put the helmet on, it really doesn't matter who you are. No hard feelings. It's not personal. And the issue that I've had come at me, in the last couple of years, especially, is the more aggressive I've got on the track, people took it to a personal level. And it's man, I remember when I came in the pro class when I was 19 in 2015, and I was getting worked left and right, whether it was by Joel, Chad, John Natale, everyone worked, but I never held it against them. Man, this is this class. They're going to get aggressive. And I feel like now, just some of the people have gotten kind of soft about it. We're rubbing, and they take it to a personal level. And, it doesn't really make me want to back off my aggressiveness. It's just, if you're in my way, I'm going to figure out how to get around you. And that's my style, and I'm not coming off it, because, again, this is a job.
Of course. Yeah. And I think and I want to just touch on the lap time thing before it gets too far away, because the one thing that if you looked at the lap times and the guys that you were battling with and having to pass, their lap times, not everybody, but a lot of them really fell off, and yours stayed the same. So even if you wanted, say you wanted, you wanted a faster lap time, you wanted a faster pace, but you kept yours and finished it out through the end of the moto when some other guys were not. So,
yeah, I mean, that's another thing. Again, I did have traffic. I felt like we were going fast, racing, but it is slowing you down more than you think sometimes when you're battling with somebody. I know
for sure.
Who actually put up a really good fight, which was the hardest one to get around. I don't remember if it was Moto 1 or Moto 2, but I was getting kind of frustrated because he was riding well and I could not figure out a way around him. Was Alan Myers. Props to him. He held me off for 3 laps, which is way more than I want to be behind somebody. And I would get really frustrated behind him because we had the same lines. and the lines that I was striking people with was exactly where he was going. So I had to like kind of come out of my comfort zone and like try different stuff, which wasn't working. And this is all happening within like 5 minutes of 3 laps. And then I think I don't know, I might have wore him out a little bit because I know he bobbled and kind of went high on a berm, or if I can remember correctly, and I got around him. I mean, I know I would have got around him eventually, but he was riding good. He was actually really tricky to get around. And, you know, the whole fitness thing and putting in consistent laps, it's like what I've been training for. I've been training with this gentleman who's actually local to me, a couple towns over. I met him at a local bike shop to here. He's an ex-pro cyclist. He's in his late 50s, and he still cycles. I mean, he'd blow your mind if you knew the miles this guy puts in and the stuff. And I've been on with him like 5 to 6 days a week on everything since December, and he's just been a huge help to me. And it's risky changing up a training program because like what I do this year is like nothing close to what I've done in previous years. And I'm not saying better or worse. It's just, it's so different.
Okay.
And I'm very confident right now. And it was a risk coming into the season. And I think that good finish in EDV in Argentina with a 1 hour race, you know, I got 4th in that, but I don't think I was the 4th fastest guy in that race. I think I was the 7th or 8th fastest guy, to be honest with you. But I went from like 7th to 4th in the last 10 minutes. And I just saw everyone like kind of arms dropping, heads dropping, and I just made moves. And it was funny because I know that they were faster than me, a lot of those guys. I outlasted them, and that kind of just gave me a lot of confidence rolling into the season. So.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, they're doing the same thing here and, you know, ATV Motocross. So you touched on it. Yeah. You touched on this a little bit. And I had it kind of jotted down as something I wanted to talk to you about because I wanted to hear your kind of opinion about the state of the pro class. Now I know right now, like, it's kind of like you have a chip on your shoulder and totally get it. Like, of course, especially given the way that your season has gone so far, but I mean, you've famously been 4th or 5th in every championship that you've ever been in as a pro. But I guess from an outsider perspective, I feel like this is almost the toughest group of riders you've had to battle with yet. Like, or maybe the deepest. I don't know how you want to put it.
You're absolutely not wrong. You're not wrong at all by that.
Yeah.
It's probably the most, I think it's like the 5th to like 8th in that 3, depending upon, or 5th to 9th in that 4 riders was usually like I could nail 5th every weekend last year. Like not, I don't want to say effortlessly, but I could nail it very comfortably at 5th. And now there's like 4 guys that are ready to take it. And, you know, it just made, and I knew that, like, I knew this last year at the end of the season. Like, I knew who was coming in. I knew who was already looking good and was going to be a threat. So it made me really step my game up. And I felt like I still, you know, I put on a 5.5 over the weekend, which, you know, people look at it as the same result, but in the grand scheme of things, is it the same result or is it a little bit better? You know,
I think it's better. I think it's better. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah. You know, it's on paper, it's a 5th. You know, in my last 5 years on paper are 5ths, but there has been a lot of shuffling of the riders in the class, and there's no shortage of talent right now.
Exactly.
You see it in time qualifying. I kind of got spanked in time qualifying, and then got 6th or something over the weekend, whatever. I wasn't worried about it because I know racing is just so different than the qualifying, and numbers are for the lottery. But to a certain point, if you got speed, you got speed. But I know pro class is, you know, it is more than being fast. It's a maturity thing and kind of just knowing who you're racing with and what's around you and what's going to happen. And that only comes with experience, which at this point is my 6th year in pro. I have a lot more races under my belt than I did the first year. So I feel like I'm getting seasoned slowly, you know, and getting pretty comfortable and knowing what needs to be done. So
yeah, for sure. That's why I wanted to get your opinion on that or hear you say it, because that's kind of what I was getting at, was that I think it is better. I think it is better now. I mean, there was years where it seemed like it was you and Uppy, and that was the only dude that you had to worry about, you know, and now it's like, it's like there is a really good crop of guys. And I know that it's not you saying, hey, fifth is my spot. Like, no, you want to be in third or whatever.
Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, it's crazy because fifth is my spot with a really bad start too. Like, what am I going to do with a better start? I know
exactly.
Yeah. I know I got to get a few starts in a row, and it's like if I get one start, like if I took off in the top 3, like I haven't been put in that position too many times to like know what it's like. And like it's crazy to think, but it's true. It's like sometimes I feel like I would do better taking off in like 5th and 6th than if I took off in like 2nd or 3rd. And I feel like sometimes if I can just grab onto the front pack, I just feel like I've been behind people so many times. I'm like, I'm able to just like, I'm better at watching people behind them and seeing what they're doing and seeing where they're pulling or seeing like a weakness of theirs. And like, I would be very content. Don't get me wrong. I would love a whole shot, but there's a lot of things that can go wrong when you start in first, you know, like someone like a Joel Hetrick, who's gotten starts so many times, is very comfortable with starting first or second. He knows exactly what to do.
Yep.
I would be very, very comfortable with like a 4th or 5th place start because I know I can stay right there and attack, have a way better shot at attacking 3rd. To be realistic, I'm not going to tell you that, you know, I'm going to take off in 4th and have a shot at 1st very easily with Joel and Chad on the
right.
I'm being realistic. I'm just saying a 4th, 5th place start, I know I can have a way better shot at a 3rd and 4th comfortably.
Absolutely. I mean, I know that it's your belief, it's mine too, that all you need is to get that top 5 start or whatever. And that's going to be what you need to at least contend, to put yourself in a position to, you know, at a chance for a podium, because that's the only thing you're missing, you know, like
dude, it's crazy too, because I had one good hole shot last year, and that was at Redbud when I took off the first moto in 2nd place behind Joel. I got shuffled right back to 4th. I made some mistakes. Like I said, it's not easy to be in that spot at first. I got shuffled back to 4th, but I stayed there. Yep. And I stayed in 4th, and that was the only race and my first podium ever. And that was one good hole shot. My second moto, I think I took off in like 8th.
Yep.
But I still made it to the front where I needed to be. And like, that was one time I did it, and look what the result was.
Yeah, I remember it. I remember it perfectly because that's the last time I think I think it's the last time we had you on the show. So, yeah, I think that's all you need. So, I think that I hate that, like, and we've talked a few times, and you can just feel this frustration in your voice, right? And it's like you just want, because that's the only.
I've had this conversation with so many people.
I'm sure.
Wants to point out kind of what I'm doing wrong, and I do listen to everyone's opinion, because I don't underestimate anything, because when they're watching, people can see something that I don't, and it's just my setup is awesome. I know it's awesome. It's me, and I'm not gonna have some kind of excuse that it's my bike, it's my gearing, my power's not in the right spot. You know, this is something I got to figure out. And I think it's a mental thing right now. So,
well, I think maybe it only takes one. You know, it takes one good start, and it sometimes it's just the mindset that, like, just everything clicks. You know, sometimes that just happens. I meant to ask this before, but what are you focusing on? Like, are you focusing on technique? Is that what you're working on right now, or?
I don't know. See, I had this,
and I don't want to dig in too deep.
No. Look, I've dug into this so deeply. People, a lot of people would like to hear this anyway, because they always wonder, what is Nick doing on his starts? And first of all, I got to just say, it's not as easy as it looks. When you have the best guys around you, you know, they're going to nail it. And I have to be perfect to take off with the top group. I was talking to my mechanic that I had over the weekend, David Porter, who was a really big help to me. And we talked about what I watch. I watch the pin. And every video that I watched last year, believe it or not, like, we'll have Tracy, my mechanic, part-time. He would videotape behind the whole shot. He'd put his head down, take the roost, but he'd get the video. And you'd see me and the 3 guys to the right or left of me. And my reaction was, I'm not even joking you, like, I could prove it in like 5 different videos on my camera roll that I am the first or second to react on that gate every single time. Like, I know it, and I could show you in any given video.
Okay.
But there's a side of me that looks at that and it's like, all I'm focused on is a quick reaction. And all I care about is like react. And I'm focused so hard on just letting go of the clutch first.
Yep.
But I'm losing my focus and technique of like, I'd almost rather react like a half second later, but nail the first 15 feet. Like
Sure.
I really need to work on my first 15 feet. And I'm mad because I did so many hole shots before Georgia and they felt phenomenal all week. Like I would nail 10 out of 10, like
Yep.
which I never do. And they were
Okay.
the best they ever felt. And I got to the race just all day. I don't know what it was. Even in time qualifying, I was just not one with the gate.
Jeez.
Man, it's just frustrating because like when you work hard and you know like you're a top guy and you're starting in the back, it's like it's very frustrating unless someone's in my shoes to know what it feels like and know like the pressure it is to start in the back and like just be expected to come to the front is not easy.
No, sure.
I'm not saying it's easy. Like I can come through a pack. None of it's easy. None of those guys let me by, and none of them, let me have it. Like I have to work for it every single time. But
yeah, for sure.
It's hard. I just think it's too much focus on one thing, but not, thinking of the first 15 feet. Like I need to nail the technique more than I need to nail the reaction. And I think that's kind of what I should be shifting my focus to right now.
Sure. When you get that technical with it, because, you can even like think of supercross videos we've seen and stuff like that. And you can see guys, I mean, you can always see it where they get the jump over the pin, but then a guy that didn't get the jump right away, but is able to maneuver his way over the gate better, however they do it. Like, I totally get what you're saying. So, I feel like I had that problem in the past too, where, your reaction time is good, but getting over the gate is not good. But the problem is, and I wanted to touch on that, so I'm glad that you did, is that when you're doing it against the very best in the world, those are the dudes that you have to race every single week. Like, it's never going to be easy. So, I mean, hopefully it just clicks for you. I really hope so, because it was, when we had you on and you just got that podium and stuff, and it was like, finally, like, I remember you being like, finally, like, you're not far off. Like that's the only thing that you're missing. So I just want to make sure that this whole interview isn't like doesn't have like a negative feel, because
this is not a new topic in this race program, this whole shots. It's brought up to me every week, and it's, I don't know, looking back on like my career, like I used to nail whole shots that were concrete starts because they were the same every single time, and I knew exactly what it was going to do. And I feel like I struggle with that too, not knowing how far back or forward I need to put my head, and like, it's crazy to think, but it's different. Like when you take off on a sight lap, it's a little bit different when you come back 2 minutes later. Even though you think it'll be close, but it's still a little bit different. Like I feel like sometimes my sight lap starts are so much better, and then I come back and I just can't do it twice.
It's tough. And like I said, it's almost like a mental hurdle. I mean, I can sit here and listen to you, and it's like it's frustrating even before it happens, right? Like, cause it's this battle.
Yeah. I don't worry about, honestly, like I don't worry about my speed with a lot of the, with that 3-4 group. I don't worry about, especially now, I don't worry about my fitness, being able to do the long race regardless of the temperature outside if it's super hot. I worry about like the opportunity to battle with that front group from a bad start.
Of course.
Knowing the speed I actually have, but just can't show it. And you can't really show it. Like, sure, like I look fast coming through a pack, but you can't really show what I have, when you're, we can go around circles on this.
Yep.
It's something I need to, figure out so I can be a 3-4 guy. Depending upon the track,
Yep. Of course. Hopefully, hopefully you're kind of just turning this corner here. I really hope so. And the one thing you talked about it not being your bike, the one thing, and you're wearing a CST shirt right now, but the one thing that is not working against you is the tires, because the tires are mint. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
I know they are.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I hook up sometimes I hook up a little too much.
Yeah, I think we talked about this before, but I think people have to realize that they have the same budget, same resources, same passion as a company like Maxis, and again, we've agreed on this before, but literally everybody that you and I both have gotten to use these things, try these things, has fell in love with them. So I hope that you can kind of take CST and put them on the podium at Muddy Creek.
Oh,
that would be a really cool thing. And I didn't even think about it till I just said Muddy Creek just now. But speaking of Muddy Creek, I just remembered that that's where you passed me in Pro-Am on the very last lap. What year would that have been? 2015.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
So you cost me the moto win there because you passed me with like 5 corners to go.
And that
And
was
speaking of coming from the back.
yeah. Well, I remember that clear as day. You know why? Because that was my first Pro-Am, first overall, and I went 1-1 on the day. And very honest with you, like Muddy Creek is by far my least favorite track that we go to every single year. I'll be honest with you.
Okay. Yeah.
But I don't know why I never liked that place. But in 2015, Randy Poulter came in there, the track builder. Everyone knows who Randy is. Most people do. Yep. And he made that place the best racetrack that I've ever seen it in the 10 or 12 years I've raced there. And I remember why I was able to pass so many people. And I normally don't like the track because there's no passing. But I remember he came in and he put all these inside singles in, put these split lanes in, and it was a phenomenal racetrack.
Yeah.
I took off like 4th that first moto. I won the first moto, made some passes. And the second moto, I got tangled in the whole shot with Dylan Tremelin. We were tangled for like 3-4 seconds, but enough to start and last. We were dead last.
Sure. Yeah.
And I was just on a mission that day. I was so bummed. And I literally, that was the one time I did go from completely last place to first, like to the last half lap with you too. And that was great. You were on the podium there, weren't you?
Yeah, damn you. I could have, if you would have just let me win the moto, you would have still won the overall and I would have got second.
I would have still won the overall. But in the heat of the moment, dude, like I wasn't even thinking about it.
No,
like,
of course you weren't.
Go. But yeah, thinking about it now, I would have still won that overall. And you would have, if you won it, probably.
I would have still got second.
Because I think Cole Sepsi at the time got third or second.
Yeah, he got third in the moto, but I would have still got second no matter what happened.
But it didn't matter.
Yeah,
I could have stayed in second.
Damn you. But no, I didn't even think about that till just now, but that was cool. I do remember that year the track was really good. There was some option lines, so hopefully
if you notice, that track hasn't been like that since.
No, you're exactly right.
That track was really good. That was that year.
Right. Well, hopefully right. Hopefully somebody listens to this. Throw some inside rollers in those corners.
Yeah.
But yeah, great memories. And like I said, last time you were on the show, it was kind of surrounding your Redbud podium there. So hopefully we can kind of be a good luck charm for you. You can rip some good starts at Muddy Creek and yeah, put that thing up front. So again, I really appreciate your time tonight. It was a good conversation, and man, good luck down there. We're pulling for you because your speed is there. You just need some starts. So again, I really appreciate it. And we'll see you next weekend.
I appreciate it, man. You know who I've been talking to recently, only because he's a New Jersey native, not Travis Spader. It would be cool to get him on sometime. But
I thought about that too. Yeah.
He might be a little tricky to get hold of, but I might be able to talk him into doing a show here.
Okay.
I know he is sometimes hard to get a hold of, and he lives like 10 minutes from me. But someone who has been trying to help me with my whole shots recently, who has a gate that's going to either give it to me or sell it to me. I'm trying to talk him into just selling it to me so I can take over it.
Okay.
Is, Pat Brown. And Pat Brown, remember him, lives in like North New Jersey now.
Yes.
And he actually called me a couple weeks ago. He's like, man, like, what do we need to figure out in your whole shots? He's like, I got this gate that I can bring down. He's like, it's a 4-person gate that, well, long story short is I'm going to be working with him shortly, and he's got this gate, which I've never really had a gate to work with. So I think it's going to help, but it's cool to get him on sometime.
So the funny thing is that we messaged back and forth a little bit, and yeah, like he's totally willing and interested to come on. So it's just finding some time, not in between races now, to get him on, but definitely going to happen. So
It'll be cool after, it'll be cool after him and I work together in the next like couple weeks to like talk to him after that, because it'll be bringing him all back to the feels.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, kind of lay the groundwork for me and tell him that we definitely want to make it happen. And I'm glad like the timing will end up being perfect, because now we can talk about your program too. So that'll be really good. So yeah,
put in a good, throw that in there real quick.
Yeah. Put a good word in for me, and we'll make that happen. So I appreciate it. And man, like I said, good luck in Tennessee, and we'll see you down there.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much, pal. We'll get right back to the show, but now a word from our sponsors. And thank you for listening to these ads. Without these great companies, none of this would be possible. Show your support for the people who support us. Before Digging Deep was even a reality, back when it was just an idea, CST Tires already believed in us, which is fitting because no one believes in their tires more than I do. Our title sponsor, CST Tires, and their Pulse MXR tires continue to hook every rider strong enough and willing to grab a handful of throttle after mounting them on their ride. Used by Thomas Brown to win races and clinch a third straight Quad Cross of Nations title, Nick Gennusa when he grabbed his first career Pro Class podium, and myself, Cody Jansen, as I rode my Pulse MXR fronts and white label soft compound rears to a 2019 National Championship in the Junior 25 Plus class. The Pulse MXR tire, available in soft and standard compounds, offers the highest level of traction, most predictable cornering, and superior wear characteristics when compared to the competition. Visit CSTTires.com to join the CST takeover today, or prepare to be beat by someone who did. CST Tires, where passion meets the ground.
Anybody that I've gotten to try them, I've heard nothing but positive things back.
We're proud to be Team Blue Crew here at the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast. Why choose Yamaha? Look no further than Chad Wienen's 6 championships in the past 8 seasons aboard his Yamaha YFZ 450R. Not to mention, Yamaha is the leading OEM supporter of ATV racing, and their support of this podcast proves it. For the 2020 ATVMX season, Yamaha's Blue Crew Racer Support Program will offer payout and prize opportunities, including a chance to win a brand new YFZ 450R. For more information, head to YamahaOutdoors.com and follow them on social media at Yamaha Outdoors today. All hail Blue Crew, the #1 OEM supporter of ATV racing. For over 150 years, Valvoline has led the charge by being dedicated to constant improvement and innovation across all disciplines of racing. Valvoline has sponsored some of the greatest names in motorsports, and for the better part of a decade, I've been fortunate enough to be part of the historically great Team Valvoline. From my commuting vehicles to small engines, race quads, and everything in between, I trust nothing but Valvoline in all of my equipment. I've experienced increased function and durability, as well as a longer life expectancy thanks to Valvoline's array of products and lubricants. Since 1866, Valvoline has been focused on bettering your experience, whether on road, on track, and everywhere in between. Upgrade to Valvoline today and check them out at valvoline.com. SSI Decals is a name synonymous with ATV racing, synonymous with big-time success, and absolutely synonymous with the best-looking decals around. An offshoot of their parent company that was established in 1947, SSI first took shape from owner Ian Harris's passion for ATVs. With what started as just making numbers and decals for riders like Chad Wienen, the company quickly took off, and today you couldn't imagine ATV Motocross without SSI Decals. The graphics maker and designer now supports all the top teams in ATV Motocross, as well as teams and riders racing GNCC, Work Series, Pro Motocross and Supercross, Canadian Pro Motocross, short course off-road trucks, UTVs, snowcross, and oh yeah, 6-time NHRA World Champion Clay Milliken. No project is too big or too small for SSI Decals, making your identity stick with championship-level graphics. Head over to SSIDecals.com today and then maybe call the doctor, because things are about to get sick. The Digging Deep ATVMX podcast is brought to you in part by DID Racing Chain and their 520 ATV2 chain. This patented X-ring chain boasts a steel alloy construction for reduced weight, increased strength, and a longer overall chain life, making it the optimal ATV racing chain. Pick up an ATV2 chain today at your local dealer or wherever DID chains are sold. Don't forget about their motocross, off-road, and street bike chains as well. Wherever you go, go with DID.
Hello listeners, this is Chad Wienen, 6-time AMA ATV Pro National Champion, an owner of Wienen Motorsports and proud partner of Digging Deep ATVMX podcast. The two of us share a strong passion for ATVMX. Owning my own team gives us the ability to handpick the best products on the market for our racing program. With consistent testing, research, and development, we are confident that when choosing the products we believe in, our customers will be satisfied in building their own race program as well. We race what we sell. With brands like Fox Shocks, Walsh Racecraft, SSI Decals, Wrath Racing, and Hinson Racing, just to mention a few, go to check out wienenmotorsports.com to see the full lineup. Enter discount promo code DIGDEEP at checkout. Enough talking already. Get out and get some fresh air and go ride. Hope to see you at the track soon.
We are proud to be partnered with Numira Technologies. Since 2001, Numira has led the charge in the ATV and side-by-side market, covering more applications than anyone else in the industry. Numira's advanced piston technology uses a NASA-exclusive aluminum alloy that helps to reduce expansion rates, that allows for tighter tolerances and leads to higher overall engine performance for your machine. For more information about Numira's wide offerings of pistons, rings, gaskets, and industry-leading top-end repair kits, visit your local dealer or online at www.numira.com. Numira Technologies, pistons with an attitude. We are pleased to be partnered with Bronco ATV and UTV Components. Bronco has been an industry leader in replacement hard parts and accessories for all makes and models for over 15 years. With a catalog that includes a full line of electrical components, engine internals like rods and cylinders, all the way down to suspension parts and bearing kits, Bronco is your hard part source for whatever you need for whatever you ride. Available exclusively through distributors around the world. Visit your local dealer or online at broncoatv.com. The Digging Deep ATV MX podcast is also sponsored by DP Brakes, a longtime supporter of ATV racing and the world leader in sintered brake technology. DP has been dominating the ATV world for decades by supporting the best four-wheeled racers on the planet. 2020 is no different, with an impressive lineup including AMA ATV Pro Class champion Joel Hetrick and Phoenix Racing Honda team, Cody Jansen and his 2019 Junior 25 Plus National Championship, Wienen Motorsports, Nick Gennusa, Wesley Wolf, and much more in the ATV Motocross. In GNCC Racing, DP has 16 of the top 17 pros heading into 2020. This includes the champ Walker Fowler, Bryson Neal, Chris Borich, Cole Richardson, Jared McClure, Adam McGill, and more. These riders continue to appreciate the high performance and impressive durability that their DP brakes have to offer, products that ultimately help place them on the top of the podium. Available at www.dp-brakes.com. Purchase at your local dealer or message us for the contact info today. What are you waiting for? Join the best ATV riders in the world on DP Brakes. Forworks Carbon's innovative lightweight products include top-notch seat covers, carbon fiber and plastic hoods, gas tank covers, exhaust shields, shock guards, and much more. Whether you have an ATV, UTV, or snowmobile, Forworks has the goodies that will improve your ride and make you salivate. We trust Forworks for increased function and a sexier look, and you should too. Forworks Carbon, always working hard to bring high quality and innovative parts to the market. Check them out today at fwcarbon.com.
We are proud to be partnered with Gripped Gloves. Gripped is an ATV rider-owned and operated brand with the rider in mind and the goal of keeping costs affordable. The Michigan-based family operation recognizes riders' desire to showcase their identity. Owner David Payne's love for eccentric colorways and crazy patterns shows in his product, something not often found in the work of big manufacturers. Here to push stereotypes and limitations, Grip's drive is to produce a glove with cool colors and designs that won't break the bank. With comfort and quality as key motivators, the family affair is constantly working on the next more innovative and improved glove. Get a grip on life, join the Gripped movement, because no one wants a bland glove. Check them out today at grippedgloves.com, that's GRIPT gloves.com, and use discount code DIGGINGDEEP10 to save at checkout. If you were to guess, on average, how many days people in the U.S. have to wait to see a doctor, what would you say? Americans have to wait around 29 days to see a doctor in major U.S. cities. And if you're dealing with a condition like erectile dysfunction, you want treatment ASAP. That's why our friends at Roman have spent years building a digital platform that can connect you with a licensed doctor in your state, all from the comfort of your home. Roman makes it convenient to get the treatment you need on your schedule. Just grab your phone or computer, complete a free online visit, and you'll hear back from a U.S. licensed physician within 24 hours. If the doctor decides that treatment is right for you, Roman's Pharmacy can ship your medication to you with free 2-day shipping. You also get free unlimited follow-ups with your doctor anytime you have questions or want to adjust your treatment plan. With Roman, there are no commitments and you can cancel anytime. So if you're struggling with ED, go to getroman.com/digging for your free online visit and free 2-day shipping. That's getroman.com/digging for your free online visit and free 2-day shipping. We are also proud of our partnership with Factory 43. Factory 43 was born in 2007, making Nerf bars for the Suzuki LTR, Honda TRX 450R, and Yamaha's YFZ 450. The brand soon added bumpers and grab bars, and for years now has offered parts for all sport quads. The racer-owned company strives to offer a quality product that installs easy, looks good, and holds up over time. For 2020, Factory 43 is the aluminum parts choice of the Phoenix Racing Honda team, providing riders like Joel Hetrick, Jeffrey Rastrelli, Chris Borich, and Grayson Eller with the motocross and cross-country versions of their Evo Nerf bar and MX-style front bumpers. Head over to factory43atv.com to see their full line of products. Thanks to Factory 43. We are excited to dig deep with the support of Bikes, Trikes, and Quads, LLC. Celebrating their 10-year anniversary this May, the company was started by former racers selling three-wheeler parts out of a barn in upstate New York. Through hard work, accompanied by offering great service to their customers, BTQ LLC now has over 40,000 new and used parts in stock. But they haven't forgotten their roots, still offering used OEM parts for three-wheelers, dirt bikes, ATVs, and side-by-sides. Parts are in stock and ready to ship with delivery within 3 days, including free shipping on orders over $50. Use discount code ATVMX at www.btqllc.com for $10 off orders of $50 or more. We're grateful to have Bikes, Trikes, and Quads LLC digging deep with us. Support our industry's grassroots businesses. Thank you, BTQ LLC. The Decker Training Facility at County Line MX is now open. This premier motocross training compound is located in beautiful Fountain, Florida, about a 40-minute drive from Panama City Beach. Their rapidly growing facility consists of a pro-level national track, amateur and youth tracks, woods loop, and mountain bike trails. Everything you need to train comfortably all winter long is available on site, including private cabins, a full gym, RV hookups, bathhouses, garage, dump station, wash bays, and more. With accommodations for riders across the country and around the world, the Decker Training Facility will help you become the best rider you can be. Sign up for a group training session or a private lesson with nationally ranked pros. Train tougher, smarter, and harder this off-season at one of Florida's most luxurious facilities. For more information, go to DeckerTrainingFacility.com or find them on Facebook and Instagram. Decker Training Facility, your elite training experience.
We are proud to be partnered with Avocado Green Mattresses. We all know that sleep and rest are an important part of any athlete's routine. Avocado's line of natural mattresses and pillows provide exactly the support you need to ensure you perform at your best while doing the best for the planet. The Avocado mattress offers zoned back support with an internal support unit, meaning whether you are recovering from a hard day of riding or relaxing on a Sunday morning, you will be experiencing next level comfort. You can rest in peace knowing the components in your mattress and pillow are non-toxic, natural, and sustainably sourced. And getting your Avocado Green mattress could not be any easier. They offer a 100-night sleep trial, free shipping and return pickups, and a 25-year warranty. And if that wasn't enough, rest assured knowing they have 5-star ratings by verified customers, including some of the Digging Deep staff. Step up your sleep game by visiting avocadomattress.com.
Thanks for listening, and remember to support our partners. Now back to the show. Allow me to introduce you to a great kid and a name you're going to start hearing more and more. Here's your Pro-Am winner from Aonia Pass. All right, guys, our final guest of the night is a guy who is the talk of the sport right now following his performance at Aonia Pass, and we're pumped to have him on. Brought to you by SSI Decals, making your identity stick with championship-level graphics. It's the guy who won his Pro-Am debut this past weekend, introducing Max Lindquist. What's up, buddy? Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Cody. Glad to be here. I'm super pumped on it, and can't wait to get talking here.
Yeah, I mean, can you believe it, dude? Like, you won Pro-Am, your debut. Like, that doesn't happen, like, ever.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like going into round one, it was definitely like didn't really know what to expect. So for that to happen, I mean, I couldn't ask for anything more.
I'm sure, and that's how it is for everybody at the opener, right? Like, you don't know necessarily like where you're gonna stack up. So, yeah, I mean, and I guess before we get too far, like, explain to people where you were last year, because people are gonna think that you came out of nowhere, but really that's not true. You spent the better part of 2 years now preparing for this moment.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I definitely felt like we were very ready for this. Last year, decided to take the season off, and I actually got on the Yamaha right away midsummer, and we just went to work. It was just a lot of like hours we put into just working on technique, relearning the bike. Like it was a totally new setup, totally new deal, from even just 250 to 4. And we spent I did the math, it was almost 22 months I had away from our ATV motocross scene. And, all 22 months just put in the work and felt like I was as ready as I was ever going to be for round one. And so to come up with the results I did was definitely a big bonus to all that.
Yeah, it like makes it feel like, hey, I made all the right decisions. Your family made all the right decisions. So that's so cool. So tell me a little bit about the relationship and how it began with you and Chad, because you're basically riding like Chad Wienen replica bikes, right? So I'm assuming in a roundabout way, like you're affiliated or riding for Wienen Motorsports, I'm assuming in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I mean, me and Chad have been close for a couple years now. We actually just started off at a riding school, whatever, and then we really clicked together. We just got along, a lot of same interests, and it got brought up that I started riding at my end of the 2018 season on a 250 with him, and it got brought up that, hey, I think for the 450 we could get you on a Wienen Motorsports Yamaha. And I mean, for me, looking up to him, he was one of my idols, and it was like, well, yeah, like that would be awesome. So got on the Yamaha, and just I've had his help from the start to the end. Like it's been just a great relationship between working on bikes, learning diet, just technique. Like, I mean, this year, like my bike setup and all, like definitely wouldn't be where I am without him right now. Like he's really stepped up and helped me in my program to get to where I am right now.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, yeah, like think about, I mean, just for me to think about all the things you can learn from a guy like that. Like you can just learn stuff, a crazy amount of stuff just by watching what he does. And then to kind of have him in your corner, like, I mean, it's invaluable. So that's an amazing opportunity for you. Obviously, bunch of similar interests, especially with him being a Midwest guy. We're from Wisconsin. He's from Illinois. The only problem is that he's a Vikings fan, which is not cool. But but yeah, so that's really cool. So let's talk about the racing a little bit then, because like I posted on the social media pages or whatever, a picture of you kind of being in that first corner incident in Moto 1, and then like looking back at it, it has to seem crazy that you were able to overcome that. So like, talk about your thoughts as that's happening on the first straightaway or the first corner into your Pro-Am career.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely wasn't how I expected to start my Pro-Am career. I'll definitely put it that way. I mean, I knew like 22 months off the gate, like there's a lot of nerves that went to that gate. And I just knew if we could, like our goal was just to get through that turn. Like it didn't matter where I came out. Like I felt like after practice, like we had good speed and all we had to do was just get through the first turn. And after that, like it was the first moto was, hey, let's aim for a top 5. And you know what, let's get the bugs out of the way, the jitters. Like I knew like going into it, I was going to be nervous. So when we came to that first turn and all of a sudden I'm locked together with another rider. It was just like no way. Like what are the chances? Like I
Anything.
hardly ever had this in my life.
Yeah, anything but this.
Yeah, like it was one of those moments. Like at first, like it's like, okay, I need to go as fast as I can. Like get off the bike. Like it was a rush. Like and the adrenaline's pumping. Like at that point, I don't even think I was thinking yet. Like it was just get the bike going and get moving. And then, I mean, once luckily we weren't severely tangled up. I was able to get the bike off right away. And I mean, they were gone. Like I was dead last. And at that point it was like, all right, like I was at that point for me, I knew like, man, I kind of just blew it. Like I was like hoping to top 5. Like I think I just blew it. And it was like I was more mad than anything else. I kind of had aggression. Like I was like, man, like seriously, like first moto we're already tangled up. And once I got rolling the first lap, like you could see everyone, and I kind of was like, man, like I'm catching the back of the pack pretty quick. And it was like and then it was like, all right, calm yourself down. Like you got 7 laps. Like this ain't 4 laps anymore. This is something whole different ball game here.
Yep.
So it was definitely one heck of a ride.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's what your mom was telling me. That like you must have told them like, hey, like you're thinking this is pro-am, like I need to go. and yeah, like it just to see the way that like it seemed like you were making up so much time. I don't know what lap got into second, but it seemed like it was mid-race to me. And yeah, it was like you were just slicing through the pack. So it was awesome to see. So I'm like, I looked at the people that were around me and I'm like, he's the fastest guy on the racetrack right now. So then obviously like watching on, I'm excited for Moto 2. So you get up to second in Moto 1 and then you were behind Zach Decker. He won the first Moto there. And then Moto 2 comes and it was an all out battle, right? So take us through that a little bit. Cause everybody basically was talking about it as the best race of the weekend.
Oh yeah. I mean, had to have been one of the best races of my life. Like that was some of the most fun I've ever had in a race. I mean, Moto 1 was like unbelievable for me. Like I had no clue I was even in second. Like it was just head down charge. Like I was mad when I got off the track. It was kind of like, man, like, all right, we're in second. Like, but I knew Zach was fast. But after Moto 1, it was like Zach was gone. Like I didn't really know like how hard's he pushing, like how much. Like I was like, Moto 2 is going to be interesting because neither one of us have saw each other yet. Like I was like, this is going to be a battle. So when we came out Moto 2 and we were like second and third, and all of a sudden he gets the first and makes a mistake, and first lap I'm out front, all of a sudden I'm like, all right, we got to go. And I had like a 2-second gap and made a mistake, and all of a sudden Zach's in front of me, and it was all right. And then it was like, okay, we need to like calm down and just kind of follow him, study him. And then all of a sudden it was like he made a mistake, I made a mistake, and it was just back and forth. Like, I mean, we passed each other like 3 times in a lap. Like I started to lose count. Like it was like, okay, I passed Zach, now he passed me. Like it was unreal. I mean, I've never raced like that. Like that was from start to finish as fast as we could go. Just, I mean, it was almost like, I mean, I don't even know how to describe it, the feeling of it. Like it was just so fun. And we both said that when we got off the track. We couldn't believe it. Like I asked Zach when we got off the track, I'm like, do you know how many times we even passed each other? He's like, I lost track after 6. Like it was unreal. Like you just don't see stuff like that. So to be the ones doing it, like we didn't even realize it when we got off the track. All of a sudden we got off the track and we're like, holy crap, like we just did this. Like we just laid down some fast laps, and it was, I mean, it took a minute just for it even to sink in that it was pro-am. Like, I mean, it was kind of unreal for a minute. Like I got off the track and I was like, man, like I just won pro-am, and me and Zach, like that was insane. Like you just don't see that every day. So that was really cool to be a part of, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's a day you'll never forget, but then to have the racing have been, so good, and you had overcome a bunch of adversity and all that stuff. So it's a day you'll never forget for sure. And it could be, I mean, like you don't want to speculate too early or anything, but it might be a battle, just, it might be a 2-man fight until the end. Because I don't want to get ahead of myself, but it just looks like you guys might be kind of on your own tier, and which is also pretty crazy because he's another rookie to the Pro-Am class. So to have it be 2 young guys battling, like, it's great for the sport, but it's also, it's crazy.
Oh yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. Like, I mean, Zach's 4 months older than me, so we're both like 16 and a half. Like, it was both our Pro-Am debuts. Like, I mean, for both of us, like, to get out of there at the top 3, we would have been happy. And then us 2 are the 2 guys out front, checked out, battling for first. And I mean, I think for either one of us, it didn't matter first or second. It was just a heck of a day, like, to get out of there and know, like, all right, we got the speed. Like, now you just got to go back home and fine tune the mistakes and stuff like that. Like, I know Zach's fast, and it's good. I agree with you. I mean, I think every race this year is going to be a dogfight. Like, there ain't going to be your 10-second checkout unless someone makes a big mistake, because we're just too close. Like, I'm really excited to see what the season brings between me and Zach, because I definitely think that won't be the first or the last of those kind of battles.
Right. Yeah. And I can hear the excitement in your voice. It is really cool that you two can have like a relationship or a dynamic where it's like, you can be like, hey, that was awesome. Not like, cause it can still, like, some people don't have that, it's like instantly just the dynamic, cause it's a competitor, takes on a different feel. And that's cool that you guys can have that. So, I mean, that almost makes it like more enjoyable, cause there's like just no negativity.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is. Me and Zach, I mean, we've grown up racing each other since we've been 10 years old. So for us, like, we've been friends on and off the track ever since. So it's
Okay.
really cool to come off the track and be like, holy crap, like, you ripped that turn. Like, I couldn't believe you made that pass there. And then it's like, and it was really cool to come off the track and just have that camaraderie and be able to talk to each other and be like, man, like, we just, like, that was awesome. Like, that was so fun. Like, we're both like, we're here sitting here texting. He's in Florida, I'm in Wisconsin. It's like, can't wait for Muddy Creek. Like, bro,
Yeah.
like, I think this is going to be just an outstanding year. Like, can't wait to keep battling with you and ride with you. So
Yeah.
that's cool.
That's awesome. So cool. And like I said, it's a credit to you that you're able to allow yourself to be that way. I think it talks a lot about your character and his as well. So, and like maybe I didn't get into this. I know we were kind of discussing this before, we were recording, but, people probably don't know that, like, we only live like half hour apart, maybe a little more than that. So I've always followed you. I've always pulled for you, even dating back to when I was a pro and you were just like a youth rider. So I'm like so freaking stoked for you and like just to see your future being so bright. It's awesome for me to look on and kind of just watch all this play out.
Yeah, I mean, all I could say is just thank you. Like, I mean, it's kind of surreal. Like, I grew up watching you and Sam Rowe, all these guys from Wisconsin, like, winning Pro-Am and like going pro, and now it's like, this is me. Like, this is cool. Like, I'm kind of living out like the dream that I once had, and now you're there, like, saying congrats to me, and like, that's just like so surreal and cool to me at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, there's people that are now going to look up to you the same way. Not that they maybe didn't before this, but it's like, Max Lindquist won Pro-Am. Like, hey, that's Max Lindquist, like it's really cool. So, like I said, huge fan of yours, and you got such a great head on your shoulders. I think that's going to help you both on and off the track. And just wanted to get you on. I believe you're the first non-pro or like past pro or whatever that we've ever had on the show, and came at a great time because you won Pro-Am this past weekend, and just awesome racing all around. So can't thank you enough for your time. Congrats again, and yeah, keep it up, and we'll see you at Muddy Creek.
Yeah, thank you very much, Cody. Yeah, really appreciate it, and can't wait to see what the rest of the season holds.
Yeah, me too, pal. We'll have to get you back on, so I really appreciate it. Great job.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you.
Man, what a great kid. Big fan of his. And it should make us all feel great about the future of our sport with all the good young talent in the sport right now. Can't wait to see these young guys thrive. Thanks to our guests tonight, Bryce Ford, Nick Gennusa, and Max Lindquist. Appreciate it. Thanks to those guys for all of their time. Thanks as well to producer Dallas Jansen, my brother, who always finds time to fit the podcast into his busy schedule. Thanks, Dallas. Couldn't do it without you. Thanks as always to Brooke for all she does for the podcast. Thanks to our sponsors, of course, newest show sponsor, the Decker Training Facility, as well as CST Tires, Yamaha, thanks to Blue Crew, Valvoline, SSI Decals, DID Racing Chain, Wienen Motorsports, Namura Technologies, Bronco ATV and UTV Components, Evans Waterless Power Sports Coolant, Forworks Carbon, DP Brakes, Gripped Gloves, Blenders Eyewear, Mountaineer Brand, Avocado Green Mattress, Roman Health, Factory 43, Bikes, Trikes, and Quads, LLC, and Oats Overnight. Support the brands that support our show, and don't forget to use those codes to save. You can find all of our episodes, additional podcast providers, sponsor links and discount codes, our show merchandise, and more on our website, diggingdeepatvmx.com, so check that out today. The show is available to anyone and everyone, whether on diggingdeepatvmx.com, or you can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and more. Basically, wherever you find podcasts, you'll find the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast. I mentioned our merch, and it's selling like crazy. Show your support for the #1 podcast in ATV racing by wearing our apparel. By now, you've seen the addition of our new Digging Deep hoodies. Purchased on our website today with free shipping and all proceeds going directly towards constant growth and improvement of the show. Thanks for all the support and for wanting to represent what we're doing. We're really proud of our gear, and it's super sick, so get some of yours today. If you enjoy the show, we encourage you to donate via Patreon if it suits you. Simply visit our website, diggingdeepatvmx.com, and click the Support on Patreon button. This contribution will help prompt continued growth and improvement of the show. Perks will be available to those who contribute, including hearing your name on the show. We greatly appreciate the support. Want to be a part of a show like this? Call us, guys. Call us with your questions, topic suggestions, business inquiries, a rant, or anything else you want to make known. The number is 920-569-3519. That's 920-569-3519. Call us and we'll play your messages on the show. Do it now. Follow the show on social media, Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, and myself, Cody Jansen, for additional behind-the-scenes content and insider info leading up to and at the races. You know I love the screenshots showing that you're listening, so send those in, and I promise to keep sharing them. It's a simple and effective way to help spread the word. Next up is Muddy Creek, and there were some sick battles there last year at the front of the pack, so let's go racing, and then we'll be back to talk all about it once again. Be sure to subscribe to the show, give us a rating, tell your friends, share our posts, wear our shirts and hoodies. It all helps spread the word about us while growing the sport that we love. With that, for Bryce Ford, Nick Gennusa, Max Lindquist, Dallas Jansen, Brooke Catherine, and I'm your host, Cody Jansen. Thanks for listening to the #1 podcast in ATV racing, 1 million downloads and counting. Until next time, thanks for joining us in Digging Deep with the Stars of ATV Motocross.
Those guys were hauling ass, for real.
I remember watching Doug Gus, I don't know who it was, Steel City, running the same times Friday afternoon as James Stewart was on Sunday back then at Steel City.
I would need to check this out.
I'm dead serious. It was mental. I've never seen quads go that fast.
It's not easy, Steve. It's not easy.
Listen, JB, I don't want to hear.
It's not easy.
I don't want to hear.
Quad leaders are freaking gnarly.
You don't chew Big Red, then what the?